My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Center Hill Road, Acre, Mississippi, 38841. I am under attack by Scientology. So let me explain Scientology. There are more than 3 dimensions. This is a fact. There are 12 dimensions in total. These dimensions reside on the inside of the universe itself. It looks like inward expansion. They call this place the inverse. We have biology in this extra dimensional place. Extra dimensions worth of biology, 12 dimensions worth. We utilize this biology to have an afterlife. You can consider it a soul. The human genome produces a 12-dimensional humanoid with horns on our head. We are designed to live in outer space after death. We can fly, do magic. Our skin and our eyes glow and we breathe fire. It's crazy. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. We are Anunnakis. That is the human bloodline and the human afterlife experience. Scientology is the practice of removing this Anunnaki from themselves, their soul, their extra-dimensional biology. They remove it from themselves. And they use technology and techniques to turn them into upper-dimensional vehicles, biologies in which they can drive through the upper dimensions, also known as aliens. And they look alien in appearance. And they are remote controlled. There are people on Earth at this very moment driving aliens through our upper dimensions. So some of these aliens look like Anunnakis. They have horns on their head. They're highly modified, though. They're not true Anunnakis. And some of them look more alien in appearance. There are blue bloods, green aliens, grays, whites. And then some of them look like other species. So they take the organs and tissues from other humans and other species and modify these biologies to be more complete. They take body parts from other humans and other species, such as reptiles, insects, and worms. They produce reptoids or lizard people using lizard body parts. They produce insectoids or bug people using bug body parts. And they produce worm people using worm body parts. These are the aliens, and this is Scientology. So let me go into detail about their technology. First, I have to mention that there's an entanglement property between our third dimension and our extra dimensions. If you remove a piece of biology or a piece of matter from a third dimensional particle, space-time becomes conformed, warped. The universe ensures this doesn't happen. The universe ensures that the energy stays within the particle. So as the biology is leaving as the body part is leaving your biology, space-time in between you and this removed body part shrinks to zero. They use this entanglement property for part of their technology. They have facilities on Earth and in outer space that house body parts, biologies. They like to remove parts of their biology, specifically brain tissue, and take them to these facilities and put it into a storage system. From there, they interface this biology to a computer system. And because of the entanglement property, the third dimensional human experiences all of this. It experiences the interface with the technology. This allows them to create a hive mind, for one. It allows the users to interact with each other in a digital landscape. They can hear, they all have an inner voice, telepathy. They can hear each other's thoughts. They can sense what each other senses. They smell, taste, touch, sight, hearing. They can experience what each other experiences. And these facilities also act as a command center so they can control the rest of their biology, so they can drive their alien forms. Then there is remote technology. So there's technology devices that interface with the brain and central nervous system. Some of this technology records sensory perception input, sight, taste, touch, hearing, smell, and some of it artificially stimulates brain and central nervous system tissue. So they run energy through their neurons and central nervous system, their glands. This has an extremely narcotic-like effect upon the user. It elevates neurochemicals such as dopamine, and it elevates hormones such as testosterone. This is causing some severe psychological issues within these people. They're psychotic and delusional, extremely irritable, quick to become violent. They are jealous, petty, greedy. Toxic masculinity is rampant among these people, and they are experiencing something akin to roid rage. This is what happens to Scientologists after assimilation, and this is why they have murdered so many people. It also causes addictive behavior, so it causes them to become addicted to things. So there are entities or organizations on Earth using this technology among the public. The FBI, the CIA, the military, the Department of Justice, they are all using this technology as surveillance technology. They can spy on people using these recording devices. Then marketing companies and social media companies, internet companies, and tech companies such as Microsoft, they're all using this technology on people to try to sell them things with the information gathered. This is how social media and marketing companies are invading our privacy. So this all started for me 13 years ago, over 13 years ago. It's going on 14 years now. I was forced to assimilate. Well, first, some Scientologists seen me on social media doing things like participating in politics, writing literature, expressing my voice. And I had a lot of followers and I was very influential. I'm an influencer. Somebody decided they wanted to read my thoughts. So they installed technology and took body parts. This became apparent when they started using their platforms to communicate with me, and it was apparent that they could see into my environment. They could see what I seen. I told them to get away from me, to leave me alone. Then the government came and installed hive mind technology. They assimilated me. They told me they had found a device. But some of the people in a hive mind are hostile. They started attacking me right off the bat. This technology they use makes them violent. Then they turned the hive mind technology off. And I became ill. I could feel things stuck inside of me, inside of my head, my ears, my face. So I started going to the hospital, having x-rays done, having teeth pulled. My whole side of my head swelled up. Then they started stealing intellectual property. So I am an author, a creative. I study science and philosophy, and I write literature and come up with ideas. And the things that I was doing in private started being stolen by other authors, magazine authors, magazine article authors, newspaper authors, people that write books, people that blog. these marketing companies. Then one day, about 5 or 6 years ago, they turned the hive mind technology back on. I started to see them and hear their voices again. Then they started stealing body parts. They started removing biology from me for surrogate making purposes and for transplant purposes. It is a common practice for them to use human biology and other species for transplants. They take biology off of humans and other species and transplant it into their own alien forms. This is Scientology. So they started stealing my biology. And as time went on, they started stealing more and more biology. And then they got to witness me write literature, write more literature. They became infatuated with this idea and come up with the idea that they were going to take it from me. They were going to steal my literature. I wrote Crazy Bird comics. I wrote the Environmental Creation Agency or Environment Creation Agency. I wrote Buffalo Bob or Buffalo Dollars or Divine Currency, Space Bob, Alien Bob, Bug Bob, Jewel Craft, and many other stories. Now it's turned into a snuff film. They torture me constantly. They don't stop. Every few minutes or so, they'll do something like pop a blood vessel or pop a nerve. And then they go all out and assault brain tissue, my nervous tissue. Every time I take a medicine, I'm on psych meds, and they keep me calm. They assault my entire central nervous system. I have lacerations from head to toe because they assault my nervous system and my brain tissue. If I masturbate, they assault my sexual organs. Or if I have an emotional response, they assault me in the eyes and the thalamus. If I take a drug, they assault my brain and central nervous system tissue. If I try to sleep, they assault my brain and central nervous system tissue, specifically neurons. They don't want me to have any kind of pleasure or feel good in any way. When I sleep, they force me to lucid dream. So they have a digital world or a digital landscape in which they use when they dream. It's cartoonish. And they all get together while they sleep and interact with each other in this digital landscape. They come up with fun things to do, like build forts or fight each other or have sexual relations with each other. This technology also allows them to do that, have sexual relations from a remote location. Mine is usually, they force me to have sex with family members, my mother and my sister. They torture me in the dreams. They force me to fight in dreams. They play tricks on me, like they give me something to eat, but the food is poisonous or toxic, and then I suffer to death in my dreams. And the body parts that they don't use for transplants or for surrogate making purposes, they use for torture devices as voodoo dolls. Because of this entanglement property, they can take my biology to a remote location and assault it or do things to it, like fill it full of worms, parasites, or torture devices, or hurt it in some way. And I have to experience it down here in the third dimension. This technology also gives them the ability to drive other organisms that are not their own. They can drive humans, animals, insects, and worms in any dimension, even third dimensional organisms. They call these surrogates. They're using this technology to assault me with parasites, big worms with teeth, some of which are extra dimensional. They put them in my biology and they drive them around inside of my biology, utilizing them as a weapon. And they're doing the same thing to my animals. So on top of all this, after I'm dead, they can take my extra dimensional biology and artificially stimulate it. And I will have to experience this in the afterlife. So they are trying to set up scenarios in which they call sending me to hell, in which they do something to my biology to cause it pain, such as fill it full of parasites, torture devices, put it in acid, locking it out of entropy, dropping it down holes, and doing horrible things to it. And then they're trying to do things, put it somewhere where nobody can get to, like putting it down a hole in space-time or dropping it out of entropy. Then it is stuck there forever. No one can get to it. So they're trying to cause me great pain and then do this to me so it will be considered sending me to hell. There is a very prominent religious zealotism going on within the Scientology community. Because my name is Christopher, they think they can torture me to death in some kind of Christian martyrdom, which is the norm in Christianity, and then sell this to the Christian public as some kind of valid event. Well, here's how that happened. They can time travel. They can go to a place in the universe where space and time does not exist, and then turn around and interact with the universe in this way. So they have controlled the languages and religions to ensure that Christopher means something, that Christopher was a religious name and is also one that has been martyred. They didn't control my name. I thought it was this way for a long time. I thought they had turned my parents into surrogates and controlled my name, gave me my names, but this is false. They controlled the language and the religions to ensure that my name actually means something. I had my name first, then they did something to the religions. They did something with time travel. These people exist within the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the military. They are marketing companies, social media companies, tech companies, and big businesses. Yes, I have to mention that some of these people in the hive are not bad. Some of them are okay. But some of them are extremely hostile and bad. And it appears that the biggest ones, the ones with the most power, are the ones that are the most hostile. These facilities that they use, they call them, they have names for them, and they are attached to a business of helping people practice Scientology. So there's one company called Preservision, another company called Yumas, another company called Lizard People, or the Lizard Company. These are the companies doing this to me. They keep my biology at these facilities, and the parts they don't use for transplants or surrogate purposes, or the parts they don't have in the hive, they use for torture devices. My biologies are filled full of parasites, worms, torture devices, kill switches, and they are doing things to them like putting it in acid, locking it out of entropy, and things of this sort. So now they're alien names. So Barack Obama has an alien. He practices Scientology. If he doesn't practice Scientology, they have stolen his biology in the same way that they have mine, and they're using it for surrogate purposes because he is up there. His biology is in outer space. It has been removed. Helena is another alien name. Hephaestus, Mr. Rikers, Jeff, Allison, Michaels, Beth, the good doctor, the stupid goons from the military, Mr. CIA man or Mr. Mustachio. His alien has a mustache. I need help. First, I need help retrieving my biologies from these people and putting them in a safe location, removing the worms and the torture devices and the foreign objects from them, and giving me back whatever they can give me back. Then I need help locating the drivers of these aliens in the third dimension and bringing them to justice. And I need help getting them off of my location, off of my property. They are here at this very moment on my location at 3102 Center Hill Road, Ecru, Mississippi, 38841. This is another thing they have controlled. They have controlled the name of this little community that I live in. It's called Center Hill. Center Hill is the place where Jesus died. It's the place where he was crucified. He died on the center cross on the Center Hill. They controlled the name of the number of my address, 3102. If you turn it upside down, it spells soul. They are addicted to this religious zealotism, this religious martyrdom. They are going to torture me to death, steal my intellectual property, and try to use it to save the planet to somehow add to the justification of their criminal behavior towards me, their criminal activities towards me. So let me go into detail a little bit about my intellectual property. So I wrote Crazy Bird Comics. It's about I'm part Native American, first off. I'm part Lakota, Native American. And it shows in my literature and my ideas. My Native American name is Crazy Bird. I had a vision that the Thunder Beings were acting crazy, destroying life on this planet. So my name is Crazy Bird. So Crazy Bird, he is a scientist, and he uses technology to save life on this planet. An environmentalist. I have several different versions. One, he's even a cyborg, because I woke up one day and had all these devices in my brain. And one where he has magic. He's magical. But the main plot or the main storyline is he's just a scientist that uses science and technology to save the planet. Then I wrote Thunder Beings, or come up with the title. It's about Thunder Beings. I wrote Buffalo Bob. It's about Crazy Bird getting a name change later in life, turning into a monk, a Native American monk, a teacher, philosopher, and a political activist, or maybe even a politician. I also wrote the Environment Creation Agency and Buffalo Dollars. So this is more of an idea, but it comes with a lot of literature. It's about a government agency, a new government agency that replaces the Federal Reserve with a science council. This council consists of cabinets that pertain to each aspect of our reality. There's a cabinet for healthcare, a cabinet for housing, a cabinet for communication, a cabinet for education, agriculture, wildlife and fisheries, so on and so forth. These cabinets consist of individuals that are highly trained in their field of study. They are the best we can possibly produce. And there is morality requirements. So there's intelligence and morality requirements for people that work in the ECA. They have to be extremely intelligent and extremely moral. These cabinets approve the spending of another one of my ideas, which is Buffalo Dollars. It is a currency that can only be spent on approved products and services. And all animals in the universe get this currency, especially humans. So the ECA approves the purchase of houses, food, communication devices, education, healthcare. It approves the spending of all of these, and we use Buffalo dollars as a form of trickle up economics to purchase these things. And upon transactions, this currency is converted into normal currency that can be spent on anything within the law. And this is the ECA in Buffalo dollars. Also wrote Space Bob, Bug Bob, Lizard Bob. I haven't come up with a good title for it yet, but it's about helping life on this planet evolve into a spacefaring species. So maybe humans could evolve different aspects and features that allow us to survive space travel or allow us to be better at traveling outer space and colonizing other planets. Maybe we could produce thicker skin, the ability to hibernate, or maybe humans aren't even the best species we could send into outer space. Maybe reptiles are better or insects are better at surviving space travel and colonizing other planets. Will we help life on this planet, or at least some of it, evolve into a spacefaring and otherworld colonizing species? So we help life survive in outer space and on other planets using evolution. And that's Spaceball. Also wrote Jewelcraft or Gemcraft. It comes from my love of video games and fantasy fiction. And it comes from the ideas that I have gained through these outlets. So, in a time before life on this planet, or the time before life in the universe consisted of elementals, giant elemental beings that were at war with each other. And then their interactions created the universe and life on this planet. But they leave behind essences. What they are made of, it hardens or crystallizes into gemstones. And it's kind of an elvish and dwarvish story where elves and dwarves and humans and gnomes and goblins and whatever, they find these gemstones through mining activities and other ways, and they use them. They're magical. They have magical properties, and they use them to create weapons and tools. This was one of the first stories I ever wrote. They are trying to steal this intellectual property. And now St. Christopher. So I also wrote a little bit. Everybody gets a book in the Bible. That's where the blank pages come from in the back of the Bible. You can write down your testimony. So mine is the book of St. Christopher. And I've been writing in it. And now I have the idea that I can teach people about the afterlife because I have seen into the afterlife. I have driven aliens and I have lived among them, and they have been in my presence for over a decade, teaching me. Some of them teach me the secrets of the universe. They teach me how things work, how they're made, how aliens are put together, how they're created. They're trying to steal that also. So they assault me on a daily basis and remove biology. I am sick. I'm in pain. I'm weak. I'm dizzy. I have brain fog. They are premeditating my death. They use this hive mind technology to harass me, bully me, berate me, premeditate my death, my murder, and to come up with some kind of false narrative which says that I have done something wrong to somehow justify their criminal behavior against me. They call me a child molester and a murderer. They say they set me up Some of these people in the hive have tried to set me up. Then they say that I smoke cigarettes. Since every time I smoke, they assault me. Well, some of the times that I smoke, they assault me. But if I quit smoking, they assault me anyways. They do it anyways. I'm using a biological function that gives me pleasure, so they assault me. These people need to be brought to justice.